I always knew there was things that I needed to do differently, and I knew that there was things that I needed to change about myself. But I would always either make excuses to why I don't necessarily need to change it or not change it right now, or I would lie to myself, which I guess is pretty much the same as making excuses. But I would lie to myself, I'd make excuses, I'd push it off until it led me to making a mistake that I really struggled to forgive myself for. And once you have came to this point where you have made mistakes that you struggle to forgive yourself for, which a lot of people have, uh, it will ruin you. It will ruin you. And you could go two ways about this. You could get rid of this feeling uh, by doing drugs, going out, uh, just doing things that kind of avoid you from being in your mental space. Because that's what's going to eat you alive is once the lights are off and it's just you and your thoughts. And it doesn't even have to just be when the lights are off. It's when it's just you and your thoughts. Anytime it is quiet. And you can do a lot of things to run away from this, but I personally didn't go down that route. At first, I was. And what's funny is while I was going down this route of self-destructive habits and things that just, made me feel good temporarily, and sometimes not even that because I was abusing it so much, such as smoking weed, for an example. And I would smoke so much weed to the point where I would literally not even enjoy being high. I would just be smoking to smoke. And I was doing this because of two reasons. One, I was trying to escape my thoughts. And two, I have a very addictive soul. And I just wanted to smoke, 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 smoke all day. And it was horrible. It was horrible because not only when I got to the point where it didn't even help, but I was also self aware that I needed to quit doing this. And so when I would do it, I would get so down on myself and be like, damn, man, you failed. You failed. So I guess the rest of the day, we're just going to smoke all day. And that's what I would do, seriously. And that is such a bad idea. Because if you smoke, say, okay, for example, if you're trying to quit smoking weed and you smoke, saying, oh, I guess I'm just going to smoke the rest of the day since I failed. That is such a dumb thing. And in my head, I just was not thinking at the time. I was either making an excuse so I could keep smoking, or that was just me not being intelligent. Because then you just set yourself up for the next day in a terrible way. Now, tomorrow, you're going to be just having to battle an addiction 10 times harder than if you were to just, smoke and be like, all right, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Let me get right back to it. Instead of, oh, let me smoke all day now. It's going to be 10 times harder. But yeah, I mean, eventually I got over it. I don't smoke weed anymore. I don't do a lot of things that I was trying to uh, quit doing. And it's really not that hard. It's really not that hard to quit vices. You just have to have a good enough reason to. And at the end of the day, that reason is loving yourself enough to do it. Because, yeah, I can say, my mental clarity's got better. And this has got better. And that's got better. But the one thing that has truly gotten better over this period of self improvement and just trying to be the best version of myself is I love myself way more. I love myself way more. I like myself. I like the person that I am becoming. I love the person that I'm becoming. And that's something that a lot of people can't say. And being able to say that, I'm extremely grateful to be able to say that. And I wish that a lot of other people can be in that same position to be able to say that they love the person they are becoming or they love the person they are. And I love both. I love the person I am and I love the person that I'm becoming. And it's just a great feeling. And sometimes I need to think about it more because I still get in my head a lot about, the future, about the past, sometimes not as much as I used to, but really it's the future. And sometimes I just have to grasp myself in the present moment and just let myself know that, hey, like I am proud of who I am and I'm proud of who I'm becoming. So the future is really the last thing I should be worried about because we can only control so much, and that so much is ourselves. That's really the only thing that we can control is ourselves, and we can't even really control our thoughts to an extent, but you can control how you react to your thoughts. And that's really a game changer. If you can control how to the way you react to certain thoughts that you have instead of being such a reactive person. And when I say all these things, I'm not putting you down, and it sucks because I was putting myself down during this whole process. But we were built this way. We were raised this way. We were raised this way to be this person that we have to battle to become better. It's just it's just how we were raised. I mean, there's nothing that we could do about it. When we're born, we can't control the way we're raised. So we have a lot of programming set into our mind that just makes us the way we are. And as you grow up, you start to realize you don't really like some of the things that you have become, or you don't like, yeah, simple as that. You don't like the person you've become while growing up. You need to make some changes. And so you start making changes and you realize it's a lot harder than it sounds because our minds are work in such a way where, it's not, you can, okay, I'm going to flip this switch off I'm going to flip this switch off in this person and then flip a switch on this person. It doesn't work that way at all. I mean, it's a process that you have to go through. And it's 100% worth going through it. Because would you rather live as someone that you are not proud of for the rest of your life and just numb it down with drugs and going out and doing whatever you're doing to escape the reality that, you don't like the person you become or you don't like your reality? Or would you rather go through a tough but not so short or would you rather go through a tough but short phase of, you know, changing these things in your life that you want to change and changing these things about yourself that you want to change? Which again, it's not easy, but just because, you're going, and maybe everyone's not like this, but I definitely was. I was making these changes about myself, but then I'd go back to the original blueprint, I guess you could say. And then I'd get down on myself a lot. But at the end of the day, that's how our minds work. Our minds work in a way where if you've been doing something for so long, it's programmed into you. So when you try to change and switch up and do something differently, your mind's going to be like, whoa, what's going on? This is not the original blueprint. And it's going to be confused for a long time until you keep repeatedly going at it. And then eventually your mind's going to, catch on to, okay, this is who we are now. This is who I am now. And that's just the process. And, I can't put an exact timer on how long that process takes, but maybe it's different for everyone. And maybe it's different at the level you are trying to do this at. So, yeah. But it's not impossible. And that's all you need to know. Because, again, you do not want to be living as someone you don't love or respect. or living a life that you're not proud of for the rest of your life. It might be tough for a little bit to try and, change some of these things, but it's 100% worth living the rest of your life trying to run away from yourself instead of just facing yourself and changing the things that you need to change to become a version of yourself that you actually love. So, yeah, hope that made sense. And yeah, I'm gonna get off here.